If you have already watched this introductory information, you can skip ahead no more than 10 minutes. Hello, welcome. I am predicting that Vice President Kamala Harris will die in a plane crash in St. Louis due to a bird strike into Busch Stadium. In the area code 314, it will be a burning bush, as described in Exodus 3:14, on November 27th, 2024. She will be replaced by Michelle Obama, and then Barack Obama will replace Michelle. I am predicting that former President Jimmy Carter will die on November 4th, and that his prophetic funeral, in which Trump will sit next to Obama, will be on November 8th. It is predicted that President Trump will die from a heart attack on January 1st, 2025. It is also predicted that Trump's heart attack will be triggered by a directed energy weapon that will target Trump through Bluetooth technology. The components inside the pointy thing that Trump took will facilitate this. And it is believed that when Barack Obama is sitting next to Trump at Jimmy Carter's funeral, Obama will obtain Trump's Bluetooth MAC address, which will be used to target Trump with a directed energy weapon. I am predicting that dirty bombs will explode in Manhattan, New York City, and there will be a large-scale evacuation on December 16th. I am predicting that Israel will bomb Iran on December 17th. Israel will nuke and completely destroy Damascus, Syria on December 26th, 2024. I am predicting that singer-songwriter Paul Simon will die on November 8th, 2024. It is predicted that after Kamala Harris's death in a plane crash, Joe Biden will appoint Michelle Obama as his vice president. On December 17th, the Democrat Party will use their electoral votes to make Michelle Obama the president-elect. It is predicted that on either December 22nd or 25th, Joe Biden will suffer a stroke. It is predicted that on December 26, 2024, Joe Biden will step down and Vice President Michelle Obama will become the 47th president. It is predicted that on December 26th, Michelle Obama will appoint Barack Obama as the 51st vice president. On January 12, 2025, Michelle Obama will step down and Barack Obama will become the 48th president. His public inauguration ceremony will be on January 20th, 2025. It is predicted that on April 20th, 2025, there will be an outbreak of monkeypox or Marburg disease or both. April 20th will be a symbolic beginning to a new pandemic. June 8th, 2025, the true Feast of Pentecost in the calendar that watches for new moons, will be the day of the resurrection rapture event. It is predicted that on June 9th, the day after the rapture, the key will open the bottomless pit and fallen angels will cross over into the earthly realm. June 9th will be a symbolic beginning to the fifth trumpet judgment that is described in Revelation chapter 9, when the demonic realm collides with the earthly realm. June 9th will be a symbolic beginning to demons pretending to be aliens, and it is possible that June 9th will be the day Pope Francis will announce that aliens have arrived and have made him the ambassador for the world. This will immediately give Pope Francis, the Antichrist, supreme power over governments of the world. At some point, there will be a massive Mary apparition that will deceive the masses, because all Mary apparitions in history have been demons pretending to be Mary. June 9th will be a symbolic beginning to a zombie pandemic and the masses becoming demonically possessed that will be facilitated through the thing, which is the mark of the Antichrist and 5G frequencies. June 9th will be a symbolic beginning to the coming genocide politicide in America. It is predicted that on August 6th, 2025, the historic barge that has been stuck on the rocks of the Niagara River for over 100 years will finally break free and crash over Niagara Falls. The reason for this is that Niagara Falls is Noah's flood symbolism, and the barge was involved in the most dramatic rescue in the history of Niagara Falls, symbolic of Noah's Ark. Niagara in the native language means straight, narrow way, and Niagara's Horseshoe Falls is perfectly aimed at the CN Tower in downtown Toronto, because Toronto and its tower are symbolic of the Tower of Babel. In a game of horseshoes, the object is to aim the horseshoe and throw it at the metal stick, which is why the Horseshoe Falls is perfectly aimed at the metal stick that is the CN Tower. God is communicating that as testament for those who will live in the 1,000 years of Christ's reign on earth, the geography of North America will, as a result of a massive earthquake, be divided by a body of water from the Great Lakes to the Mississippi Delta. This destruction will be judgment on America and Canada for attempting to divide God's land, Israel. When this happens, the water in the Great Lakes will spill out over southern Ontario and Toronto. I am predicting that a solar flare will erupt on the surface of the sun and send a coronal mass ejection that will hit Earth on August 13th, 2025, which will knock out America's power grid and will lead to food shortages. The hit of the coronal mass ejection, predicted for August 13th, that will knock out the power grid will also knock many planes out of the sky. I am predicting that on August 23rd, 2025, there will be a catastrophic asteroid hit of Earth, which will trigger the eruption of Yellowstone volcano and will cause the volcano in the Canary Islands to collapse into the Atlantic Ocean and send a mega tsunami towards the east coast. The asteroid will also trigger a mega landslide on Hawaii Island that will trigger a mega tsunami that will hit the west coast. It will also trigger the collapse of the Hoover Dam, which will cause a water panic in California, and many other devastating earthquakes. The day of the Lord, the second coming of Lord Jesus Christ, Judgment Day, will be on the Day of Atonement, October 1st, 2025. The date that this video is posted proves that these predictions are being made ahead of time, as do these time-stamped emails and forensic notes PDF documents. If you are skeptical for some reason, please email me and I will forward these to you. Believe me, I know far better than you how the prediction made in this video was derived, and more importantly, I know far better than you why the righteous Christian God of the Bible has given me a voice through this prediction. If you are a quote-unquote Christian or Muslim, this prediction was not learned through a demon. Be warned that blaspheming the Holy Spirit is the unforgivable sin. If you are a New Ager or New Spirituality person, this prediction was not learned through somehow tapping into the supposed universal collective consciousness. If you are a conspiracy theorist, this prediction was not learned through figuring out a supposed code that the Illuminati and Satanists are using. This prediction was learned through the Bible and through watching carefully the Lord's prophetic signs, which Jesus commanded all Christians to do. Besides proving that Jesus Christ is the Lord, the reason why God has given me a voice through this prediction is to prove that the controversial things that I am saying in the videos on this channel are the truth. Therefore, a wise person will want to watch all of the videos on this channel. What I will also do is create a video or two that summarizes some of the controversial things that the Lord will prove to be true when the prediction being made in this video comes to pass. I will leave links to these must-watch videos in the description box below this video. Again, the purpose of this prediction, that is from God, is to prove these things that I will talk about. And therefore, it would be foolish to not watch the videos that I will leave links for in the description box below this video. All right, welcome. In this amazing video, I will explain some of the amazing, beyond words, prophetic signs that occurred in this year's World Series, and I will explain so much more, but this video will be predicting the death of Jimmy Carter. Former President Jimmy Carter is predicted to die on November 4th, 2024. This video is being recorded prior to that date. It is actually the day before. In some time zones in the U.S., it's, well, anyway, it's the day before, but the post date that this video is posted will prove that it is posted before November 4th. And also, the email and forensic notes document that I introduced at the beginning of the video proves this prediction is being made ahead of time, as do the countless other videos on this channel that were posted prior to this date. All right. So, you are in for a treat with this video, though, and the explanations that I have for you here for how this prediction is known ahead of time. Okay? I'm not just picking a date. Jimmy Carter is an old man. Of course, he can die any day. It is the reasons for how I know this date that make it true. Right? These reasons are clear. They are not a product of my imagination, but furthermore, anyone attempting to do such a thing concoct fabricated reasons for dates would not be a sane person, and but it wouldn't be possible to do what I am doing, especially if someone were not sane, right? What I am doing here is I'm providing clear, indisputable reasons for, simple, clear reasons for how November 4th is known to be the date that Jimmy Carter will die, as you will see. Also, the other predictions in conjunction with this prediction will also prove this too. The fact that this is from God. Prior to November 30th, we expected a sign involving Aaron Judge, number 99 of the Yankees. So if you've watched the other videos, you'll know that this date God was seriously pointing to for Paul Simon. All right? For the date, it's a step in the trail of signs leading to the predicted date of Paul Simon's death, which is predicted to be on November 8th, the date of Jimmy Carter's funeral. Well, anyway, this October 30th date was extremely important. We knew this ahead of time, and sure enough, we received the relevant prophetic signs that we expected. For one thing, Paul Simon is an avid baseball fan, but this is emphasized in God's signs. And the reason for that is because baseball is very important in God's signs. And the reason for that is because, as James Earl Jones said in the most iconic baseball movie ever made, baseball is intertwined with American history. Okay. Prior to October 30th, 2024, we expected a sign involving Aaron Judge. Not only that, but as I explained in the Paul Simon videos, we were expecting an Aaron Judge, player number 99 of the Yankees, sign. All right? It was expected that this sign in Game 5, we knew it would be Game 5, although this date was known before the schedule for the World Series was made. But then when it was, we knew that it would be Game 5, and that it would somehow involve the number 5, the signs that would occur in this Game 5, and for that matter, Paul Simon in God's Signs is associated with the number 5, and we knew that this sign involving the number 5 that would occur in Game 5 would somehow point back to the 5th home run by Reggie Jackson, number 44, in the 77 World Series between the same two teams, the New York Yankees and the Los Angeles Dodgers. Okay? Now, 44, because the 44th president is the Antichrist. That's why this MVP of the 77 World Series was 44. But what he did in the World Series was he hit a record 5 home runs. All right? In the first inning of Game 5 this year, Aaron Judge hit his first home run in a World Series. Pitchers on a pitching mound symbolize the Antichrist on the Temple Mount in Bible prophecy. Judge, number 99, hit this home run off of Dodgers pitcher number 0, making this hint at 990, right? Number 99 and number 0, 990. 990 is the 44th triangular number. As predicted, this home run in Game 5 gave us the number 44. And this pointed to number 44's, Reggie Jackson's, record 5 home runs in the 77 World Series. There's lots to be said about the 1977 World Series, which I've explained in another video. But Carter was inaugurated in 77. Okay, I'm not going to explain it here, though. This is just an addition to what's already been explained. By the way, my advice to people is to watch the videos in the order that I made them. So the most recent video is what people are most likely going to click first, but it should be the one they click last. Anyway, it was back-to-back home runs. As following 99's home run, player number 13 hit a shot to the same right field area of the stadium. 9 times 13 equals 117, which is a number in God's signs. It symbolizes the mark, which is the SHOTs, the mark of the Antichrist. The number 13 symbolizes the Antichrist from the Bible, and the mark of the Antichrist is described in Revelation 13. Aaron Judge committed a fielding error to begin the 5th inning of Game 5. Right? It's amazing. As I said, prior to this game, we were expecting player number 99, Aaron Judge, and the number 5. Aaron Judge made a fielding error to begin the 5th inning of Game 5. Number 99's error was followed by an error by Yankees number 11. These errors in New York City hinted at the error of judgment, because it was Aaron Judge who made the first of the errors. Okay, let me repeat that. These errors in New York City hinted at the error of judgment by America since the warning on 9/11 in New York City. The warning from God to turn back to God or else destruction. Since then, America has raced exponentially even further away from God, an error of judgment. And God was warning of judgment through 9/11 in New York City, which is why we have number 99's error followed by Yankees number 11's error. A third fielding error in the 5th inning was made by Yankees pitcher number 45. Avid Yankees baseball fan Paul Simon is predicted to die 4 + 5 days later after this third error in the 5th inning by number 45. The Yankee errors in the fifth inning led to the Dodgers coming from a 0-5 score to tie the game at 5-5 at the end of the fifth inning. Right? In the fifth inning, the Yankees were up 5 runs, okay, before the fifth inning began. And then when the Dodgers came to bat, the score was 0-5 in the fifth inning, and then they scored 5 runs in the fifth inning to tie the score at 5-5. And this is game 5. And like I said, we were looking for the number 5 before this game. Again, because of the 5 home runs that player number 44 hit in the 77 World Series in between these two same teams in the year that Carter was inaugurated, and Carter is predicted to die 5 days after this game 5. That's why we knew to expect the number 5, right? I'll repeat that. The Dodgers and Yankees have a long history of World Series rivalry. They had an especially intense one in 77 that is in the midst of all kinds of prophetic connections, including the presidency of Jimmy Carter in 77. That series is known for the 5 home runs that player number 44 hit. The Antichrist is the 44th president. That's why we knew that this game 5, which was on a date that God was pointing to ahead of time, would involve the number 5, because it is 5 days before it was known or is known that Jimmy Carter will die. Like the death of Jimmy Carter 5 days after this date was known a long time before the game 5 was scheduled for this date. All right? Okay. Pitchers on the pitching mound pitchers on the pitching mound symbolize the Antichrist on the Temple Mount in Bible prophecy, in God's signs. The third error in the fifth inning that allowed the Dodgers to tie the game 5-5 at the end of the fifth inning in game 5 was committed by the pitcher number 45. The reciprocal of 45, 1 divided by 45, is 0.0222. This error by number 45 in the fifth inning of game 5 is 222 days before fifth trumpet and 5G day on June 9th, 2025. God is communicating that this will be the symbolic beginning of the fifth trumpet in the book of Revelation, which is when the demons will rise from the bottomless pit and begin a mass demonic possession of people who have taken the mark of the Antichrist, which will be facilitated by 5G frequencies. And that's why we have these 5s and number 45, because 45 hints at 222 days after this game 5, and that's why the fifth trumpet and 5G, 222 days after the game 5, and number 45 in the fifth inning. On the same day, 55-year-old Brett Favre was on stage with trumpet, God's trumpet that he uses to trumpet and highlight his prophetic signs. Brett Favre, number 4, played 4 times 4 years for Green Bay. There are currently allegations regarding him involving $4 plus $4 million. The Antichrist is the 44th president who will enforce the mark of the Antichrist that will be associated with the coming plague or the ongoing plague, because the CVD disease isn't finished. And that is in Bible prophecy symbolized by the green horse, which is why God is playing on these things with green in the name, for example, and green, anyway, that's why Green Bay. That's why this day. And he's 55 years old. That's hinting at the 5G frequencies in the fifth trumpet. That will trigger the delta brainwaves, which will facilitate the mass demonic possession. The delta brainwaves will be induced by the components that are inside the people who have taken the mark of the Antichrist, the self-assembling components, and this will be facilitated by the 5G frequencies. A phrase in the Bible, Ephesians 2:2, describes Satan as being the prince of the power of the air, which is why the mass demonic possession will be facilitated by frequencies in the air. The number 22 is symbolic of the mark of the Antichrist. That's another reason for the 222 days from player number 45. Pitchers on the pitching mound symbolize the Antichrist on the Temple Mount, and the inverse of 45 is 0.0222. Jimmy Carter is predicted to die on the 45th anniversary of the 444-day Iran hostage crisis. But, okay, back to the 55-year-old Brett Favre. He was number 4 and played 4 times 4 years for Green Bay, as in the green horse in Revelation, the one that symbolizes the plague and famine. There are currently allegations of him, the player, involving $4 plus $4 million. But this was on the same day that's pointing to, with the signs, the day in which the mass demonic possession will begin upon those who have taken the mark of the Antichrist, and that's why it's connected to Green Bay. Okay, I think you got it now. Number 4 guided Green Bay to 11 playoffs. 11 seasons, 11 playoff seasons. Carter, who is symbolism for Methuselah in God's prophetic signs, is predicted to die on 11/4, November 4th. The 55-year-old and number 4 for Green Bay was with trumpet in Green Bay 5 days before the predicted death of Carter in the 4th state on the date 11/4, which is why number 4 guided Green Bay to 11 playoffs. It's amazing beyond words. I'm giving you one astounding thing after another here in this video. It's just non-stop, jaw-dropping. And that's just the way we would have expected it, because again, God was pointing to the state so overwhelmingly ahead of time. Now, the big thing and the significance of the timing of the death of Carter is that in God's signs, he is symbolism for Methuselah, as explained in the other videos. And Methuselah in the Bible died at the time of the flood judgment. The name Methuselah means when he dies, destruction. In other words, when Carter dies is the destruction of America. The comments involving land and people associated with garbage is a prophetic sign from God that communicates that America has become like garbage that must be disposed of. On this day, trumpet was in a garbage disposal truck. Trump is God's trumpet. In archaic English, the word trump means trumpet, or the sounding of a trumpet. And this is the sign on this same day. This October 30th day was the day that Trump was playing on the comments by Biden about followers of Trump being garbage, which is an illustration of their hate, which is why all Democrats are going to hell. I just went off and explained that a lot in the last video I just made a few minutes ago, so I won't explain anything more. But it's revealing, because that's how, I'll say this though, there is a parallel with the Bible in regards to the way in which the so-called self-acclaimed or self-described sophisticated people on the left who think they are smarter and more moral than the others, with the Pharisees in the Bible. Jesus intentionally chose the working class, illiterate probably, but we don't know. Some say that they were illiterate, but that's not maybe for sure. Fishermen from Galilee for his disciples, and not the elites of the day. There's a direct parallel there. And the Pharisees, of course, if you've read the Bible, were dismayed at this man Jesus for associating with the lower class, the deplorables, as Hillary Clinton put it. Hillary Clinton is a Pharisee. You see what I'm saying? There is this parallel that is intentional by God. God has designed this parallel between the Pharisees and the left today, who think wrongly, because the opposite is true. They are the immoral ones. They aren't smarter. They are far less informed in general than conservatives. And so it actually is a lie, but it's the same within Jesus' time, because Jesus called the Pharisees out for not being the righteous ones. Although they thought they were. They thought they were morally superior than the others of their day and had the right to be the elites, but in fact Jesus called them out on it and called them and said that they were the most corrupt of their generation. It's a direct parallel. But anyway, that's revealing. This is a sign from God when and God is using Biden for his gaffes for prophetic signs. This has been going on for years, God using Biden for prophetic gaffes. Biden revealing how they really think. They really think like Biden. And a lot of them will even be so full of hate that they would even agree with the term garbage. But whether or not they would use the term garbage, they do believe with the sentiment of Biden's and Hillary Clinton's in 2016 when she called Trump supporters deplorables. All right? It's all a lie. They're full of lies. They love lies. The propaganda behind the reasons for why they think they've... anyway, enough. June 9th, 2025 will also be Aliens Day, when Judge finally hit a home run in the World Series after not batting well in the prior games. The announcers said that the sleeping giant had awoken. Giant is symbolism for fallen angels and demons pretending to be aliens. This game is 222 days before Aliens Day. So I'm saying that this June 9th day will be a symbolic beginning to Aliens Day, 5G Day, Mass Demonic Possession Day, Seven Thunders Day, for those that know what I'm talking about, Fifth Trumpet Day. It's this symbolic beginning. I'm not saying all of these things are going to happen right away on that day, but it's the big beginning date. It's the date after the rapture, actually, on the Sunday on June 8th in Pentecost in the true calendar that watches for new moons. Okay. Garbage equals 41 in simple English gematria. A equals 1, B equals 2, C equals 3. USA equals 41. 41 is the 13th prime number, which hints at 13 colonies that founded USA. That's why the number 13 in God's signs can symbolize America. Also, America is the 13th tribe of Israel. Joseph's tribe was divided into two, Manasseh and Ephraim, and the younger Manasseh was deliberately demonstrated by God in the Bible to have inherited the inheritance, although he was the younger brother, and that's because Ephraim is the UK, and the younger brother, America, is the one that has received the inheritance. Anyway, that's another long story. But just to give you something else to confirm that the number 13 is symbolic of America, and the 13th prime number is 41, and so God is communicating that America has become garbage and must be disposed of. The land must be cleared, if you know what I mean. Simon was born, Paul Simon, because this date was known ahead of time to be a Paul Simon date. Paul Simon was born in 1941. Ansel Adams' photo, famous Hoover Dam photo, was taken in 41. That's one of his more famous photos as well. And this is symbolism. The Hoover Dam is symbolism for bridge over troubled water, which is Paul Simon's big hit, which incidentally was Paul Simon and Art Garfunkel's fifth and last album that won 5 Grammys at the 13th Grammy Awards. Actually, I just realized how that's relevant to this particular video just now as I was saying it. Okay, Whoa. And by the way, the date 10/30 also hints at 13, by the way. October 30th, subtract the zeros, you've got 13. Okay, whoa, it must be, I'm writing to friends with these emails, so I'm saying whoa. October 30th is 297 days to August 23rd, 2025, which is the date it is predicted that the Hoover Dam will collapse. Brett Favre has the record of most consecutive regular season games played. Okay, so God uses records for signs. Brett Favre, again, he was the sign on this day, has the record of most consecutive regular season games played at 297 games in a row. 297 equals 99 plus 99 plus 99, as in Yankees' Aaron Judge's number 99, which equals God's judgment. But again, this is amazing because, okay, again, this was a Paul Simon date. Paul Simon's bridge over troubled water in God's signs is pointing to the Hoover Dam and vice versa. The Hoover Dam is symbolism for bridge over troubled water. And the Hoover Dam is predicted to collapse after the asteroid hits Earth on August 23rd, 2025, which will be 297 days after this Brett Favre Day sign when he was 55. And as I just explained all that. So, and that's amazing because Brett Favre had a record consecutive regular season games played in a row at 297. Amazing beyond words. Again, this whole video is nonstop, just amazing. Now, on October 30th, the Los Angeles Dodgers won the series 4-1. Okay? All right, and so again, this was the garbage day sign. Garbage equals 41. USA equals 41. Paul Simon equals 41. The Hoover Dam equals 41. And the Los Angeles Dodgers won the series 4-1. This is exactly 41 weeks. This day is 41 weeks exactly to the eruption of the sun and the coronal mass ejection hit on America that will knock out its power grid on August 13th, 2025. Okay? Now, I mentioned earlier the back-to-back home runs by number 99 and number 13 that were hit in the first inning. The back-to-back falling home run balls hint at the impact of the coronal mass ejection, followed 10 days later by an asteroid. Back-to-back hits of Earth and America. The second home run was hit by number 13. 13th prime number equals 41 weeks later. In other words, judge as in judgment number 99, followed by 13 as in followed by 41 weeks to the judgment destruction of America. Whoa. The date is 10/30, which hints at 13 equals America. By the way, Paul Simon also symbolizes America for his song named America and American Tune, which he sang at Jimmy Carter's pre-inaugural ball. The final score of 7-6 hints at 76, as in 1976, but also 1776. The year, of course, that symbolizes America. And Carter's election in 76. 7 plus 6 equals 13, which symbolizes America. The 76th semi-prime number is 226, and the 226th word in Strong's Hebrew Concordance is the word that means prophetic sign. Okay, as I wrote earlier, June 9th, 2025 will also be Aliens Day. When Judge finally hit a home run in the World Series after not batting well in the prior games, the announcer said that the sleeping giant had awoken. Giant is symbolism for fallen angels and demons pretending to be aliens. This game is 222 days before Aliens Day. By the way, another thing to add to that is the giants are mentioned in the book of Revelation, in the flood account after 120 years, which is the reason for the flood. And this was the 120th World Series. And we had this sign involving the giant, Aaron Judge, in this 120th World Series. 5 days before the death of Carter and Carter's Methuselah, who is part of the account of the flood, who died at the time of the flood judgment. And whose name Methuselah means when he dies, destruction. Okay, so the day before October 30th, actress Terry Garr died. By the way, Garr hints at garbage. And that was the day that Biden made his garbage comments. That's why Terry Garr died, on that day that Biden talked about Republicans being garbage. The actress, starred in Close Encounters of the Third Kind and Young Frankenstein. Garr died on the day of Biden's garbage comment about Trump supporters being garbage. This is 223 days before Aliens Day and Demonic Possession Day. And the 48th president is predicted to be the Antichrist. But Aliens Day and Demonic Possession Day are perfectly symbolized with the movies Close Encounters of the Third Kind and Young Frankenstein. Right? And that's why Terry Garr died and connected with all of this. To facilitate this connection between these movies and the coming day that is Aliens Day and Demonic Possession Day. It's amazing beyond words. In advance of Game 5, we expected a sign that would involve, in advance of Game 5, we expected a sign, or signs plural, that would point to the MVP number 44 of the 77 World Series, who hit a record 5 home runs in the series. After the Dodgers overcame a 5-run deficit to win Game 5, and that was in the 5th inning, Dodgers player number 5 was awarded the MVP for hitting 4 home runs in 4 games in a row, which hints at number 44, Reggie Jackson and his 5 home runs. That's why it was Dodgers number 5 who hit the 4 home runs in 4 games, because it hints at the 5 home runs of player number 44. It's amazing. And that was expected in advance. We expected a sign to point back to number 44's 5 home runs in 1977 between the two teams between the Yankees and Dodgers, the same 2 teams that played each other this year. Prior to October 30th, 2024, it was expected there would be a sign involving the number 9 and number 5 somehow. The 5th run for the Yankees, it was 5-5 after 5 innings, was scored with a solo shot in the 3rd by Yankee number 27. So the reason why I put that there is just, okay, so I said this earlier. At the beginning of the 5th inning, it was 0-5. The Yankees had already scored their 5 runs before the 5th inning. Okay. Now the 5th run of those 5 runs that was scored before the 5th inning was a solo shot, a solo home run in the 3rd inning by Yankee number 27. Okay, so God repeats a number 3 times for emphasis of its symbolic meaning, but this was also the 3rd home run of the game. Okay, so this 3rd home run of the game was hit by number 27, in the third inning. Number 27 in the third inning hints at 9 plus 9 plus 9 plus 9. Right? 27 is 9 plus 9 plus 9. In other words, 27 divided by 3 is 3 nines. Number 9 plus 9 plus 9 scored the fifth Yankees run. And again, before this game, we expected the sign involving a number 9 and a number 5. This is another way, because we already explained one of them, player number 99's contribution in this game. But also, the third home run of number 9 plus 9 plus 9, which was the fifth Yankees run. This prophetic fifth Yankees run was scored in Game 5. Okay, so this run stands out because of what I've just explained, but it was also Game 5, let's not forget. The final score of the game to win the series for the Los Angeles Dodgers was 7-6, and this hinted at 7 times 6 equals 42, the number that the Los Angeles Dodgers' Jackie Robinson wore. After Kamala Harris's predicted death in a plane crash into a baseball stadium, she will be replaced by Mrs. Michelle Robinson. Mrs. Michelle Robinson, which is why the song by Paul Simon, Mrs. Robinson, which he sang in center field of Yankee Stadium after Joe DiMaggio died. And Joe DiMaggio played against Jackie Robinson, number 42, in the 1947 World Series, the first World Series that was racially integrated. And so that's also how Paul Simon ties to the name Robinson through Joe DiMaggio, because Paul Simon sang about Joe DiMaggio in his song Mrs. Robinson, and Joe DiMaggio connects to Jackie Robinson, who wore jersey number 42 for the Los Angeles Dodgers. And this game was won with a score that hinted at the number 42, because God is pointing to first of all, the Antichrist, because the number 42 in Bible prophecy symbolizes the Antichrist, but also Jackie Robinson, because God is using that to hint at Mrs. Michelle Robinson, who will bring about the rise of the Antichrist, because after she has replaced Kamala Harris, she will be made president-elect by the Democrat electors after they shoplift the referendum. And then Joe Biden will step down and she will become the 47th president, and she will appoint Barack Obama as her vice president. And then she will step down on January 12th. And then Barack Obama will be inaugurated ceremonially on January 20th. The 3 home runs for the Yankees against the Los Angeles Dodgers by number 99, number 13, and number 27 sum to 139, the 34th prime number. This was 4 plus 4 days after the death of legendary Los Angeles Dodgers Fernando Valenzuela, number 34. Valenzuela, a left-handed pitcher on the pitching mound, was known for Fernando mania, and points to the left-handed 44th president known for Obama mania. A large reason for Fernando mania was his Mexican ethnicity. Okay, so if you don't know this pitcher from the early 1980s, he was the big phenomenon. Wherever he would play, would attract huge crowds. He was on fire, first of all. He was like the star pitcher he won the Rookie of the Year and the Cy Young. And I think that's the only time that's ever happened. And by the way, he won that, his fantastic year. He had 13 wins. And it was only 13 because it was a shortened year. But it was a shortened year because it was designed by God so that this amazing player could have the number 13 in that year. And they went on to win the World Series that year against the New York Yankees, the Los Angeles Dodgers, which Fernando Valenzuela played for. In other words, I need to make an entire video about Fernando Valenzuela, because it also hints at Venezuela, and God is using Venezuela and the shoplifted referendum there to hint at what's going on here. The Marxist revolution that has happened in Venezuela is happening here, and like Venezuela, there will never ever be another Republican president. Just like Venezuela, how there will never ever be another non-communist socialist president, right? It's a socialist coup that's underway in America. And so that's another reason for Fernando Valenzuela. Okay, but anyway, so there was Fernando mania. He would attract huge crowds. What else? I think that the television numbers were extraordinarily high and all this. And so that, and a large part of that is because he was attracting Latinos and interesting them in baseball and everything. And that's because he's from Mexico, okay? Now, the parallel with Obama mania is that was a large part of his Obama mania, the color of his skin. Right? And also, by the way, him presenting himself as being from Kenya, which was a lie, but anyway, that's another story I explained in other videos, was necessary too. Because Obama and Bill Ayers knew that he wouldn't rise as far as he had he presented himself as just another African American. He needed to have a multicultural African American story, but it's all a lie. Well, anyway, he was born in Kenya, but he's certainly not Kenyan, and that was all played upon so that he could become president. And his father isn't Kenyan. That's a lie too. Anyway, I don't want to get into it. I've explained it before. Okay, so anyway, number 34, Fernando Valenzuela, grew up in Mexico. And the 44th president grew up for 4 years in the nation that was made up of 34 provinces, Indonesia, where his mother and stepfather were involved in an Islamic cult. And that's a fact. That's not conspiracy theory. All right. And also, what's also not conspiracy theory is that while he was there, Obama had a transgender caretaker. So Obama was being raised by a transgender, a man pretending to be a woman. Okay. Okay. So Obama is associated with Indonesia, which is symbolized by the number 34. Okay, just like America is symbolized by 50 because it's 50 states. And Fernando Valenzuela was number 34. All right, let's move on. The home run by number 99 off of pitcher number 0 hinted at 990. What I want to just talk about one more time here is the reason for all of this is that this Los Angeles Dodgers win in this prophetic game was 4 plus 4 days after Fernando Valenzuela died, but also the 3 prophetic home runs hint at the number 34 as well, because again, they add up to the 34th prime number. Okay? Now, the home run by number 99 off of pitcher number 0 hinted at 990, the 44th triangular number. The signs in the game in New York City pointed to 9/11 in New York City. 99 is 9 times 11. 990 is 9 times 110. The Twin Towers were 110 stories. The poor defense in the 5th inning of Game 5 was initiated by the error in center field by number 99. This hinted at God's defenses of America being temporarily removed on 9/11. What I am saying is that not only is number 99 a hint at 9/11, but his home run was off of pitcher number 0, and that's giving us a 9 times 110, which is big time numbers that God pairs together to point to 9/11. And I'm just going to play a short clip explaining that, and then I'll be right back. Jesus' official arrival into Jerusalem and first coming was on the 10th day of the first month in the Hebrew calendar. This is 110, and this hints at the number 110. In the book of Joshua, the date on which the Hebrews crossed over the Jordan River and officially entered the Promised Land was also on the 10th day of the first month, which is 110 and hints at the number 110. Jesus' first coming is symbolized by the number 110. This is why on 9/11, the 2 towers that collapsed were each 110 stories high. The collapse of 2 towers that were 110 floors was symbolism for Jesus' second coming. In the book of Joshua in the Bible, Joshua died at the age of 110. Joshua led the Hebrews around the security walls of the ancient city of Jericho before they collapsed in judgment. On 9/11, the twin towers, which were 110 stories high, collapsed, engendering a small earthquake that cracked the foundation of Federal Hall, where George Washington was inaugurated, on Wall Street. President George Washington was a founding father, and his inauguration as the first president was a symbolic founding of the nation. The cracking of the foundation of Federal Hall on Wall Street on 9/11 symbolized America's foundation in God being cracked. This is because after Washington's inauguration at Federal Hall, he then walked down Wall Street to Trinity Chapel, where he consecrated the nation to God, saying that if the nation were to ever turn away from God, it would lose its blessings. After 9/11, Trinity Chapel was called the Miracle Chapel, as it was the only building at Ground Zero to have survived. It did not even suffer a broken window due to the 70-year-old sycamore tree that was uprooted as it sheltered the chapel from the falling debris. In commemoration of this sycamore tree outside the chapel, today there is a huge bronze statue of its roots. In other words, through the 9/11 events, God was pointing to Trinity Chapel and Washington's covenantal consecration of the nation to God at Trinity Chapel. Wall Street is named after the original 9-foot-high wall of security that the Dutch built to keep the British and the Indians out. The collapse of 110 floors that cracked the foundation of Federal Hall on Wall Street, which is named after a 9-foot-high security wall, hints at 9/11 and points to Joshua, who died at 110, and the Hebrews that marched around the walls of security before they collapsed in judgment. 110 floors and the 9-foot-high wall of security that was Wall Street points to George Washington's march down Wall Street to Trinity Chapel that symbolized a covenantal relationship between America and God. To this effect, Washington's march down Wall Street with the New York Stock Exchange, the building that symbolizes America's financial strength, located on one side of the street, and Federal Hall, the building that symbolizes America's governmental and institutional strength on the other side, also pointed to the cutting rights ritual practiced in ancient Israel that was used in Abraham's and God's ritual walk in their covenant that is described in Genesis 15. A covenant that symbolizes Washington's walk down Wall Street and his covenantal consecration of the nation to God at Trinity Chapel. There are only 2 nations in the history of the world that were founded not on ethnicity or territory or language, but were founded solely for God: Israel and America. In every daily Bible that is divided into 365 readings, a portion of the Bible for each day of the year, on every September 11th, everyone that reads this standard 365-day Bible reads the passage in the book of Isaiah, chapter 9, verse 11, which is the judgment warning on ancient Israel, which was a raid on ancient Israel by the world's first recorded terrorists, the ancient Assyrians. And the terrorists on 9/11 were from the same part of the world. The Assyrians raided the northern kingdom of Israel first, and then later the southern kingdom of Judah was destroyed, which is why the terrorists on 9/11 hit the North Tower first, followed 17 minutes later by the South Tower. And this Isaiah 9:11 passage includes a mention of collapsed buildings and uprooted sycamore trees. On the morning after 9/11, Senate Majority Leader Tom Daschle gave a speech to the world regarding the events on 9/11. He quoted the passage in Isaiah 9:11, not realizing it was a judgment warning on the ancient Jews. He quoted how, after the raid by the Assyrians, the Hebrews did not repent to God, but instead vowed defiantly to rebuild and become stronger than before. And so, like the ancient Jews, America did not repent after the judgment warning, and instead defied God even more. And so, like ancient Israel, America will now be destroyed. This is why, in God's true big picture of signs, patterns, and connections, he frequently pairs together the number 110 and the number 9. Both of these numbers symbolize God's judgment on the nation, and paired together, these numbers point to the big judgment warning that was 9/11. As well, these numbers paired together in God's signs and connections serve as a witness confirmation that the perceived signs and connections are from God. After the judgment warning of 9/11, America was given a period of grace to repent and turn back to God, or else judgment destruction. In the Bible, a 20-year period symbolizes a complete period of waiting. Jacob waited 20 years to get possession of his wives and property. The children of Israel waited 20 years to be freed of Jabin, the king of Canaan, when they were freed from bondage by Deborah and Barak. The Ark of the Covenant waited 20 years in Kiriath Jearim, and Solomon spent 20 years building his home and the house of God. On the 20th anniversary of the buildings that collapsed on 9/11 was the sudden collapse of America's presence in Afghanistan, and the iconic scene of this was the U.S. Air Force plane leaving the airport in Afghanistan, and the big number on the side of its plane is 1109, which hints at 110 and 9. The home run hit by number 99 was his first of the World Series. 36 days earlier, pitcher number 36 started the game for the Yankees, and number 99, which hints at 9 times 11, hit his 7 plus 7 times 7th home run of the season. Okay, this is a prophetic game. Anyway, okay, so on 9/11, Flight 11 hit the first tower with 9 times 9 passengers. There were 7 plus 7 times 7 passengers on Flight 175 that hit the second tower right after the first plane hit the first tower. 1 plus 7 plus 5 equals 13. And number 13 hit the home run right after number 99 hit his home run. Number 99's home run, that was immediately followed by number 13's home run, hinted at the 2 flights that hit the 2 towers, one after the other, on 9/11. Okay, so believe it or not, this paragraph is huge. It's very important here. And what I'm going to do is try to explain this again. So, the two, you could really break it down to the last 2 sentences, because Number 99's home run was followed by number 13's home run, as I explained. These were back-to-back home runs to begin the game. Okay? 99 hints at 9 times 9, the number of passengers on the first plane. And number 13 hints at flight number 175, because 1 plus 7 plus 5 equals 13, and that's the second flight. That second flight had 7 plus 7 times 7 passengers. And that's prophetic because of what I just explained in the segment about 9/11 is 3 sets of 7. 3 sets of 7 is because of Joshua, the Israelites, led by Joshua, when they took the promised land, enacted a symbolic 3 sets of judgment before the walls of security collapsed, as in the 110 towers that collapsed in God's judgment of the ancient city of Jericho. So that's why a 7 and a 7 times 7. That's why Judge's home run in this World Series was 36 days after his 7 plus 7 times 7th home run of the season. 36 is also relevant because the pitcher that started on that day was number 36. But also, pitchers on the pitching mound symbolize the Antichrist on the Temple Mount in Bible prophecy. And in Bible prophecy, the number of the Antichrist is 666, and 36 hints at this. 36 hints at 3 sixes, and also it is 6 times 6, but also 2 times 18, which is 6 plus 6 plus 6. And the 36th triangular number, which in a triangle of numbers, the last number in the 36th row is 666. And 1 plus 2 plus 3 plus 4 all the way to 36 equals 666. All right. Pitchers on the pitching mound symbolize the Antichrist on the Temple Mount. 36, which hints at 666 days before number 99 Judges made his error in center field. Yankees pitcher number 36 started the game when number 99 hit his 7 plus 7 times 7th home run of the season. On this same day, Paul Simon held a concert in New York City. Paul Simon sang Mrs. Robinson in center field of Yankee Stadium, which is where the error that number 99 made that began the disastrous 5th inning, like I've explained earlier, that lost the game for them. That error was made in center field. It was also in center field that Joe DiMaggio collided with Goose Goslin, and that's a hint at the bird, as in goose, that will bring down Kamala Harris's airplane that will crash into center field of a baseball stadium. The third home run for the Yankees against the Dodgers by number 9 plus 9 plus 9 in the third inning was his 7th home run of the postseason. Number 9 plus 9 plus 9's home run occurred 7 plus 7 plus 7 days after Hurricane Milton hit the 9 plus 9 plus 9th state. On that day, Milton ripped the roof off of Tropicana Major League Baseball Stadium, and the Tropicana Hotel in Las Vegas on the same day was demolished in order to clear the way for a Major League Baseball stadium. Tampa dodged Milton, and then Milton passed over the orange growing region of Florida. Oranges are also grown in Southern California. On the day that Milton hit Florida, the Los Angeles Dodgers, and Tampa dodged Milton, the Los Angeles Dodgers played a prophetic game against San Diego, and their series began on the day that Milton was first formed, the same day that Trump was back in Butler, where there was an assassination attempt on his life. Let's hold on a second here. So on this day, which was, by the way, October 9th, 7 plus 7 plus 7 days, Milton hit the 9 plus 9 plus 9th state, 7 plus 7 plus 7 days before number 9 plus 9 plus 9 hit his 7th home run of the postseason. Tampa dodged Milton, and the roof of Tropicana Stadium was ripped off. And on that same day, the Tropicana Hotel was demolished to clear the way for a baseball stadium. Okay? Now, Tampa dodged Milton on this day, October 9th, and then Milton passed over the orange growing region of Florida. It was uncanny. It was designed by God specifically to point to the orange growing region of Florida. Oranges are also grown in Southern California. On the day that Tampa dodged Milton and Milton hit Florida, the Los Angeles Dodgers played a prophetic game against San Diego. And this same series with San Diego began on the day that Milton began, when it first formed. And Los Angeles and San Diego hint at Southern California. It was the Southern California series in the playoffs, and that's again the region that grows oranges. Okay, now on this same day that Milton first formed, and the first day of the Southern California series in the playoffs, Trump, God's trumpet, was back in Butler, where there was an assassination attempt, where there previously was an assassination attempt on his life. And that day that he was back in Butler for the second time was in turn 7 days after the watch of the Dodgers pitcher number 7+7+7 was stolen. And this was 77 days after the assassination attempt on Trump in Butler. The pitcher's name is Bueller. Okay, so let me repeat that. There was an assassination attempt on Trump's life in Butler on July 13th, 2024. And that was 77 days before Bueller's watch was stolen at a racetrack, which is symbolic of the track around Jericho in which the Israelites marched while they enacted a symbolic 3 sets of 7. Okay, so from Trump in Butler the first time, it is 77 days to the watch stolen by Bueller at a racetrack, and his jersey number is 7+7+7. And this was 7 days before the beginning of the Southern California series, which then on October 9th was another game in that series, prophetic game, and that day was 7+7+7 days before the 7th home run of player number 9+9+9, and Florida is the 9+9+9th state. Now, in the movie The Godfather, scenes containing oranges augur something calamitous for the character in the scene with the oranges. For example, Vito Corleone died from a heart attack after putting an orange peel in his mouth to amuse his grandson. On the day that number 99 and number 9+9+9 hit their prophetic home runs on October 30th, Trump, the orange man, was wearing a bright orange construction worker's vest. This is exactly 9 weeks before it is predicted that Trump will die in the 9+9+9th state where oranges are grown. There's more to this too, because I think I explained in this thread here, this date, October 9th, was also pointed to the movie Black Stallion, made by Francis Ford Coppola, and Coppola made The Godfather, and the colors of Halloween are orange and black. And God pointed to October 30th. It was first learned that October 30th would be a major date back in late September when God gave us Halloween-themed signs, which is explained in other videos. But the colors of Halloween are orange and black, and we get that through Black Stallion and the oranges connections that I just explained. And also Black Stallion is relevant because Mickey Rooney was nominated for an Oscar for his role in that movie, training horses. Bueller's watch was stolen at a horse race track. The movie is about a horse on a beach. Milton hit the beaches on October 9th. And Mickey Rooney attended the first ever Los Angeles Dodgers game at Dodger Stadium and was known for it because of his antics at the game on top of the dugout. And this game pointed to that because it was Hurricane Milton, and Milton Berle also attended that first game, and Milton Berle was Mr. Television. And anyway, Milton Berle died at the age of 93, and Hurricane Milton hit Florida 93 days after Hurricane Beryl, as in Milton Berle, and on and on. It's explained in another video, actually. There's way more to it, and the wise person will recognize that when the prediction comes to pass, that they need to watch every minute of every video anyway. And so, yeah. And prior to October 30th, we expected a sign involving the number 9. One reason being this 9 weeks connection to Trump's predicted death. Well, that's what I forgot to conclude here with. On January 1st, it is predicted that Trump will die from a heart attack. Vito Corleone died from a heart attack after he put an orange peel in his mouth. And the movie, The Godfather, is known for the connections between oranges and calamitous things for the character that's in the scene. And that's why God had Trump in an orange construction worker's vest, looking particularly orange that day, because it was exactly 9 weeks before his predicted death. And that's why number 99 and number 9 plus 9 plus 9 hit the prophetic home runs in this game on that day. It confirmed this 9 weeks connection from the oranges. And again, the oranges are all pointed to here, not only because of Trump's orange vest, but because of the 7th home run of the season occurring 7 plus 7 plus 7 days after the Tropicana signs, and including the Tropicana Casino Hotel. And Trump is known for having a casino hotel that was recently demolished. All right, I knew it. I just checked. The day that the Trump Casino in Atlantic City was demolished on February 17th, 2022. 21, is exactly 193 weeks to October 30th, the day that the casino collapsed in Las Vegas, the Tropicana Casino, to make way for a baseball stadium, on the same day as the roof of Tropicana Stadium in Florida was ripped off by the hurricane. And hurricane is Noah's flood symbolism, and Trump's casino in Atlantic City collapsed on the date 2/17, and that's the date in the flood account that the flood began, the date 2/17. So that's also a confirmation of this 193 weeks connection. But the reason why the 193 weeks connection is relevant is because 193 is the 44th prime number. And again, the prophetic home run by player number 99, which is confirming the 9 weeks to Trump's death, was hit off of player number 0, which gave us 990, which is the 44th triangular number. So we have the 44th triangular number confirming the 44th prime number connection from Trump's casino collapse. And obviously, the collapse of Trump's casino is another prophetic sign that's hinting at the collapse of Trump, the predicted heart attack death of Trump. Which now, and that's amazing, because the collapse of Trump's casino is 193 weeks exactly to October 30th. And again, the home run that confirmed that. And that in turn, which is by number 99, and that in turn is exactly 9 weeks to Trump's predicted collapse due to a heart attack. And God pairs 9 and 44 together in his signs to confirm his signs and connections. This is classically how God's signs works. And I know this because I have been studying his big picture of signs, patterns, and connections for more than full-time hours from morning until night for more than 6 years. And also, God's big picture of signs, patterns, and connections works on the principle of second and third and multiple witnesses, which is what makes what is being explained on this channel true and not a product of one's imagination and different and unique than everything else on the internet that claims to be an analysis of God's prophetic signs. And if we think about it, one simple way in which God will provide a second witness for us is through pairing certain numbers together, such as 9 and 44. And the reason being is that the Antichrist 44th president was inaugurated in 09. And also the number 9 being symbolic of God's judgment, and on and on. But that's why we have again, from the collapse of Trump's casino to this October 30th day when Trump is in the orange vest communicating like the Godfather, something bad's going to happen to him. It's in turn 9 weeks. So that's 9 weeks following the 44th prime number. That's a pairing of 9 and 44 that confirms the signs and connections. And I know this is how it works because I've been studying it for so long. That's classic. It's amazing beyond words. And not only that, it involves Florida, which is where Trump is predicted to be at the time of his death, in the 9 plus 9 plus 9th state, and on and on. It's and on and on and on and on. And you know one other thing too, come to think of it, just like off the top of my head here, Trump is also symbolic, his death will be symbolic of the last Trump. It'll be the last Trump sign, but that in itself is a play on the phrase that Paul used in the Bible, the last trump, which symbolizes the rapture. And that's what Dodgers hints at. And we are talking about not only the Dodgers in this game on October 30th, but I just explained the connection 7 plus 7 plus 7 days earlier with the Dodgers playing in a prophetic game on the same day that Tampa dodged Milton. And the Dodgers were, for 1 year, I believe only, named the bridegrooms. And that was in the year 1888. And 888, the name Jesus in Greek is equal to 888 in Greek gematria. And the rapture is when Jesus comes for his faithful and rescues them from the severe persecution from the Antichrist, the 44th president. And that's, again, why the 193 weeks exact connection. This is amazing. It's so amazing. And it's finally good to see how the collapse of Trump's tower connects to the death of President Trump. Oh, and speaking of which, for years now, since February of 21, when, the state that I'm talking about with the collapse of Trump's Atlantic City tower, that was the same day that Rush Limbaugh died. And I've been waiting for the connection between Rush Limbaugh's death and the death of President Trump for this amount of time. Because I've known since December of 2019 that Trump's death would be a major prophetic sign. And anyway, since February of 2021, I have been waiting for these two signs because God was pointing to February 17th, 2021 as being the date for Trump's death. But as you may know by now, if this isn't your first video, the way it works is God points to these dates as steps in the trail of signs leading to the particular event. And in other words, February 17th, 2021 was known in advance to be this huge date for Trump. And then we got the relevant signs that confirmed all of the analysis, which was the collapse of Trump's tower, which I didn't know was going to happen until that day, and the death of Rush Limbaugh. And Rush Limbaugh died at the age of 7. He turned 70 years old, by the way, on the day that Trump was last at his border wall of security as president. And on and on and on, actually. On and on. Because I could spend an hour talking to you about how God pointed to February 17th ahead of time, but that's not the purpose of this video. I'm just putting this all together right now in the moment in my mind here that, Trump's tower's collapse definitely connects to the date that Trump is going to die on January 1st. It's amazing. Okay. And prior to October 30th, we expected a sign involving the number 9, one reason being this 9 weeks connection to Trump's predicted death on January 1st. Something that also I realized is that, again, this 10:30 date hints at 13, and the second of the 2 back-to-back home runs in this game was hit by player number 13, and God pairs 9 and 13 together to confirm the signs and connections. As explained in the Ferris Bueller's Day Off video, a must-watch video, as all of them are, and the wise person will recognize that when the prediction comes to pass, Tampa's dodge of Milton that hit the beaches of Florida and the stolen watch at a horse race track connected to Coppola's Black Stallion movie. God pointed to 10:30 with Halloween symbolism, and the colors of Halloween are black and orange, which is why the 7th home run of the postseason for player number 9+9+9 was hit 7+7+7 days after Milton hit the 9+9+9th state. I already explained all of this a lot already. The Yankees home run in New York City pointed to 9/11, right? I explained that, right? Their jersey numbers sum to 139, the 34th prime number. This was 4+4 days after the death of Los Angeles Dodgers pitcher number 44. 34 is a 9/11 number. Okay, one reason being the stock market. The stock market closed, it didn't open that day. The Dow Jones was closed at 9,605, which hints at 9 and 6 and 5 equals 11. It hints at 9/11. But it was 9,605.51, and that was a difference of 0.34 points from the close on the Monday. Okay, the close on the from the prior Friday. In other words, the close on the Friday was 9,605.85, a difference of 0.34 points from the close on the Monday, which was the close during the day of 9/11 because the stock market didn't open on the Tuesday. Okay, and also 34 is a 9/11 number because on 9/11, 34 is 2 times 17, and on 9/11, 2 planes struck the 2 towers 17 minutes apart. Isaiah chapter 34 regards judgment on the nations or the world, and on 9/11, the World Trade Center was hit. The third run in the third inning was the player's 7th of the postseason. The third building to collapse on 9/11 was World Trade Center 7. This building 7 had 47 floors. 7 plus 40 floors hints at the 7-day warning followed by 40 days of increasing floodwaters that began on the date 2/17 in the flood account. Right? It's amazing. The third home run in the third inning was the player's 7th of the postseason. This is symbolic of 3 sets of 7. The Israelites enacted a symbolic 3 sets of 7 before the walls of security of Jericho collapsed in God's judgment. The third home run in the third inning, that was player number 9+9+9's 7th of the postseason, was hit 3 sets of 7 days after Hurricane Milton hit the 9+9+9th state. Milton was the 9th hurricane of the season. It was the 13th named storm of the season. 3 sets of 7 days after Milton hit the 9+9+9th state, player 99, 13, and 9+9+9 hit home runs for New York City. That's amazing. Okay, because Milton was number 9, the 9th of the season. And it was the 13th named storm of the season, and God again pairs 9 and 13 to confirm the signs and connections. And 3 sets of 7 days before this, Milton hit the 9+9+9th state. Three sets of 7 days after Milton hit the 9+9+9th state. Okay. 3 sets of 7 days after Milton hit the 9 plus 9 plus 9th state, player 99, 13, and 9 plus 9 plus 9 hit home runs for New York City. And again, you get the idea here. It's a direct parallel, right? 9, 13, and 999 hint at the 9th hurricane and 13th of the season, right? And it was 3 sets of 7 days because of the 7th home run and the other reasons that I mentioned earlier. Okay. Milton was a Category 5 hurricane, the strongest in the Gulf of Mexico since '05. Again, we were looking for signs involving the number 5 before this day, before October 30th. Milton wasn't on October 30th, but let me begin again. Milton was a Category 5 hurricane, the strongest in the Gulf of Mexico since '05. 3 sets of 7 days later was Game 5, when the third Yankee home run that gave, and which made the score 5 runs for the Yankees, was hit in the 3rd inning. So the third Yankee home run was hit in the 3rd inning by player number 7th, by the players, and was this player's 7th in the postseason, to give the Yankees 5 runs and a 0-5 lead, which was equaled by Los Angeles in the 5th inning. Okay, so that's more, in other words, more connection to Hurricane Milton, because it was a Hurricane 5 and it was the strongest in the Gulf since '05. And again, as I explained, October 30th connects to 5G Day and 5th Trumpet Day with 222 days. But so the parallel, again, though, is it was a Category 5 and the strongest since '05, and it connects with 3 sets of 7 days to Game 5 and all of these 5s, including the 5th run by this player who hit his 7th of the postseason, his 7th home run. Okay, and again, the game was all about the 5th inning, as I have explained. So that's the more confirmation of the connection between Milton and these signs involving the number 5 in Game 5. Game 5 on October 30th was 4 plus 4 days after the death of number 34. Game 5 pointed to the number 5 through a hurricane, and it is 5 days before the predicted death of the 39th president on the 4 times 4th anniversary of the election of the 44th president. The 39th president is hinted at with number 34 plus 5 equals 39. That's amazing, right? Also, again, this game with the signs in the 5th inning and the home run that hinted at 990, the 44th triangular number. It all pointed back to the 5 home runs hit by number 44 in the 1977 World Series, right? And that 77 World Series was in the year of the inauguration of Jimmy Carter. In fact, it connects to the inauguration of Jimmy Carter with the 58th prime number of days. And again, the significance of Jimmy Carter in these signs is he is symbolism for the 5th through 8th kings prophecy in the book of Revelation. Okay, so anyway, we got the player number 44's 5 home runs in 77 connects to Carter. Okay? Now, in this game that was known ahead of time to be 5 days before the death of Jimmy Carter, and it was known that Jimmy Carter would die on November 4th before the baseball game number 5 was scheduled. But anyway, we have all these 5s, and we have Carter. But we also have the connection to player number 34. And 34 plus 5 equals 39. So there you go. The reason why 4 plus 4 days back from Game 5 to the death of number 34 is relevant is because this World Series in Game 5 pointed to the MVP in the 77 World Series and player number 44 who hit 5 home runs in the World Series. That's what I just explained, because that's connecting to Carter because of the year 77. Also, number 99's home run off of number 0 gave us 990, the 44th triangular number, and this too confirms the 4 plus 4 days back to the death of number 34, which is also what I just explained. Well, I didn't explain this part, actually. This combination of 9, 5, and 4 also telegraphs the 5 days from Game 5 to the predicted death of Carter, followed by 4 days to the predicted death of Paul Simon. Paul Simon, an avid Yankees fan, is predicted to die 9 days after Yankees number 99's and number 9 plus 9 plus 9ths home runs in Game 5. Simon is associated with the number 5, as explained in other videos. Simon's death will be 4 days after the death of the 39th president. The number 39 is the 15th semi-prime number. Simon's recent album, 7 Psalms, is his 15th solo studio album. 15 is 5 plus 5 plus 5. This was hinted at with 5 Dodgers runs to tie the Yankees' 5 runs in the 5th inning. And again, this day, October 30th, was known ahead of time to be a date for Paul Simon. Paul Simon was completely confirmed because of the number 5s in this game and Game 5. The date October 30th was for Paul Simon was known before Game 5 was scheduled for this date. And it was known before even the Yankees were known that they were going to be in the World Series. And again, Paul Simon is known to be a Yankees fan. So this was part of the recognition for how October 30th would only be a step, because there was too much going on for it to actually be the date of his death. Okay, when it was learned that, the Yankees would be in Game 5 on this day. So, but not necessarily. I mean, there was more that had to be confirmed to make sure that it was just a step. But anyway, this was a Paul Simon date. And Paul Simon's 15th studio album is more confirmation for all of this. Furthermore, we had the prophetic 7th home run of this postseason by the player number 9 plus 9 plus 9, which, by the way, is 3 9s. Speaking of the 39th president, we have the 3 9s player hitting the 7th home run of the season, or the postseason, which hints at the 7 Psalms. It's just amazing. I'm just realizing all this now, right? It just goes deeper and deeper and deeper. But the thing I wanted to say here, too, is the reason for the timing of both of these men's deaths, Paul Simon and Jimmy Carter, is that they symbolize the beginning of destruction. I've explained Jimmy Carter. He's Methuselah, whose name means when he dies, destruction. Paul Simon is symbolism for Sound of Silence, the song that launched his career. That's because John experienced a period of silence before the judgment destructions began. In Revelation 8:1, there was a sound of silence in heaven that preceded the 7 trumpet judgments, which is why Paul Simon released his 7 Psalms album at the age of 81, which hints at Revelation 8:1 and the sound of silence. In other words, just like Jimmy Carter, the death of Paul Simon will signify the timing of the beginning of the destruction and judgment for America. The errors in the 5th inning were initiated by Aaron Judge, number 99, which was even more noteworthy because in the 4th inning, he made a spectacular catch at the wall of a ball hit by Freddie Freeman, number 5. Okay, again, this day was known or expected to have on it signs involving the number 9 and number 5. The errors in the 5th inning were initiated, the first one, in other words, of the 3 errors, by Aaron Judge, number 99, which was also even more noteworthy because in the prior inning, he made a spectacular catch at the wall of a ball hit by Freeman number 5. These plays in center field in the 4th and 5th innings off balls hit off of pitcher number 45 point to the death of Paul Simon 4 plus 5 days later, because Paul Simon sang Mrs. Robinson in center field of Yankee Stadium. In other words, God was pointing to center field, and Paul Simon singing in center field Mrs. Robinson. And that's why these signs involving center field, involving Aaron Judge, number 99, were hit off of the pitcher number 45. 45 is the 9th triangular number. And this is 4 plus 5 days before the predicted death of Paul Simon, who sang Mrs. Robinson in center field, because Kamala Harris is predicted to die in a plane crash in center field of a baseball stadium, and she will be replaced by Michelle Robinson Obama. The ball that Judge number 99 caught at the wall was right at the 399 feet number on the wall. The announcer mentioned this 399 feet number after the catch. 399 hints at 3 nines. This catch by Judge number 99 at the 399 feet number on the wall is 99 plus 99 plus 99 days before America's walls of security will collapse on August 23rd, 2025, when the asteroid will hit Earth and cause a wall of water on each coast, and the collapse of the cement wall that is the Hoover Dam. And as explained in Paul Simon videos, God has connected Paul Simon to the Hoover Dam. But this is amazing, right? Because we have 399s here, and this is a 399 feet number, right? And Judge, of course, hints at judgment. And the number 9 from the Bible symbolizes God's judgment, which is why the number 9 is the most important number in God's prophetic signs. And so from this catch at the wall at the 399 foot number, and he literally touched the number on the wall, he jumped onto the wall, right? Okay, he hit the number 399. And this is 399 days before the walls of security collapse, when the asteroid will hit Earth, and the wall of water on each of the America's coasts, and the collapse of the center of the cement wall that is the Hoover Dam. This is amazing beyond words. The first of 5 runs that were scored by the Dodgers in the 5th inning, when they tied the score 5-5, was scored by player number 4 plus 4, which further confirms the aforementioned connections. This first run by number 4 plus 4 and tying the game at 5-5 in the 5th inning off of Yankees pitcher number 45 hints at the reciprocal of 45, 0.0222, and confirms the 222 days connection to Aliens Day on June 9th, 2025. The first error was committed by the giant, as in fallen angels, Aaron Judge, as in judgment, against Los Angeles, as in fallen angels. The 4th and 5th runs of the Dodgers' 5 runs in the 5th inning were scored by number 50 and number 5, Freeman, which further confirms this 45 symbolism and the connection to 5th trumpet and 5G Day and Aliens Day. So you get that, all right? We're talking about a 222 days connection. To get that, we have the number 45. Trust me that God uses this number 45. This is extremely important. The fact that its reciprocal is 0.222. By the way, Carter will die on the 45th anniversary of the 444-day Iran hostage crisis. Okay, so 45 and 222 are important. And we have the pitcher who is 45, but also the fourth and fifth runs were scored by player 50 and player 5, which is more 4 or 5 symbolism. Okay, and the first run was scored by player number 4+4 in the inning that made the score 5-5 in the fifth. There's all of this 45 symbolism, which, as I'm saying, confirms the 222 days to Fifth Trumpet Day and 5G Day and Aliens Day. And again, the pitcher number 45 is relevant too because pitchers on the pitching mound symbolize the Antichrist on the Temple Mount in Bible prophecy. That's why pitchers are used in God's signs. So it's, in other words, Antichrist symbolism. And also, the number 22 symbolizes the mark of the Antichrist, and furthermore, the demons pretending to be aliens will promote the mark of the Antichrist, the thing. You know what I'm talking about, the pointy thing. After the disastrous fifth inning, the announcer said that, quote, "If the Yankees lose this game, it's their own fault," unquote. These were prophetic words that communicated that the judgment and destruction that is coming to America is America's own fault. It will have been done to themselves. The 44th president is the Antichrist, who is described in the 66th book of the Bible, and his number is 666. Los Angeles, as in Fallen Angels, tied the game at 6-6 with a run by player number 4+4, as in the 44th president Antichrist, whose number is 666. The final prophetic out of the World Series was made by a pitch for a strikeout by Walker Buehler, number 7+7+7, this pitcher that I mentioned earlier. God uses prophetic final outs of games and especially World Series. This was the final prophetic out of the World Series. So what was this final prophetic out? It was a strikeout on a pitch made by Walker Buehler, this pitcher that had his watch stolen, and like I explained in the other video, it's Ferris Bueller, and anyway, Butler, where Trump was assassinated. The attempt of the assassination was 77 days prior to Bueller's watch, his assassination in Butler. Okay, and Butler's number is 7+7+7. The Dodgers won by 7 runs. Sorry, they scored 7 runs. They didn't win by 7 runs. And this was 7+7+7 days after Tampa dodged Milton, as I explained earlier. Milton Berle, who died at 93, was in attendance at the first ever game at Dodger Stadium. Hurricane Milton hit 93 days after Hurricane Beryl, as in Milton Berle. Milton pointed to oranges. And by the way, one thing about Milton Berle, he was nicknamed Mr. Television. He was the first celebrity, first superstar. And speaking of the Yankees and Dodgers, the first ever televised World Series was the 1947 World Series, in which Joe DiMaggio played Jackie Robinson, the first integrated World Series. God uses firsts like this, and that's also because the first black president, affirmative action president, is the Antichrist. Okay, so back to what I was saying again. Hurricane Milton hit Milton Berle died at the age of 93, and Milton hit 93 days after Beryl. Milton pointed to oranges, as I explained earlier, and the sun is round and is orange, and is 93 million miles away from Earth. Milton hit on the day the Dodgers played the Padres, and it was Johnny Padres who pitched for the Dodgers in the first ever game in Dodger Stadium, attended by Milton Berle. The series against the Padres this year began on October 5th when, and by the way, the score in that first game was 6-3, which hints at 3 6s and 666, the number of the Antichrist. The series against the Padres this year began on 10-5 when Milton first formed on the day that Trump was in Butler with Elon Musk. Bueller hints at Butler. And on 10-5, and 10-5 was 7 days after Bueller's watch was stolen, and that was 77 days after the assassination of Trump in Butler, and on and on. Okay, as I explained a little bit before, but you need to watch the other video too. Make sure you watch the absolutely astounding Ferris Bueller's Day Off video. The final out and strikeout pitch was caught by Dodgers catcher number 4x4. Okay, so Bueller pitched the pitch, but the strike was caught by the Dodgers catcher, whose number is 4x4, which again hints at the 44th president, the Antichrist. The catcher's name is Will Smith. This was 135 weeks and 3 days after Will Smith slapped Chris Rock at the Oscar Awards. 135 weeks and 3 days hints at 1,335 days and the end. This is a period of days mentioned in the final verses of the last chapter of the book of Daniel, and regards the time of the end and the period of the Antichrist. And this 135 days follows 1,290 days, a difference of 45 days. In other words, 1,335 hints at the number 45. And I've already explained the prophetic significance of 45 too, because its reciprocal is 0.0222, which hints at the second coming, which is at the end of the 1,335 days. That's why the 45 days difference, by the way, between the two numbers in the book of Daniel, for those that know what I'm talking about. Believe me, the reciprocal of 45 is important in this equation. So 45 hints at 1,333. So 45 hints at 1,335, and this game demonstrated the number 45, as I have explained. In a few different ways, it demonstrated 45. God pairs 44 and 9 to confirm his signs and connections. In turn, Will Smith's number 4x4's final out of the World Series is 99 plus 99 plus 99 days before it is predicted that the rock asteroid will, as in Will Smith, slap Earth. So it was recognized immediately following the slap of Will Smith on Chris Rock that this was a prophetic sign pointing to the rock that will slap Earth. Okay? That was known back in March of 2022. Now we can see how it connects to the date of the rock slap of Earth. It is through this Dodgers, as in America not dodging the asteroid, and those who will be raptured will dodge the asteroid. Okay, it connects through Dodgers Will Smith, whose number is 4x4, which hints at the 44th president. And this connects with 135 weeks and 3 days, which hints at 1,335 days, which hints at 45, which is the 9th triangular number. And Will Smith's final out catch, as in like a hit, in this context, the ball is symbolic of the asteroid, is 99 plus 99 plus 99 days exactly before the date of the predicted asteroid will slap Earth. But Not only that, we already, as I explained earlier, have confirmation of that. Because again, this was the day of 55-year-old Brett Favre's sign, and 99 plus 99 plus 99 is 297, and he holds the record for most consecutive games of 297 games. And also, we had, as I've explained, Aaron Judge's catch at the 399-foot mark on the wall, and that hints at 3 times 99, which is 99 plus 99 plus 99. And again, God repeats the number 3 times for emphasis of its symbolic meaning. And again, God pairs 9 and 44. Okay, because the 44th president was inaugurated in 09. So Will Smith's number 44's final out catch of the ball that symbolizes the rock is 99 plus 99 plus 99, which is a pairing of 9 and 44. Days before the predicted rock asteroid will slap Earth. This is amazing. Amazing, 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 okay? Will Smith's slap of Chris Rock now connects, and we can clearly see it. Also, too, this was the final prophetic out, or I should say the prophetic final out of the 120th World Series. And that couldn't be more important and symbolic and profound, because, again, the flood judgment began after 120 years in the Bible. And baseball is so very important and symbolic of America in God's signs. It is in general, but in God's signs, baseball is very important. As again, James Earl Jones said, baseball is intertwined with American history. And so we have 120 World Series. This is the final World Series because it is the 120th World Series. Judgment and destruction of America will now commence. And we have the final prophetic out. Okay? This final prophetic out was made by the catcher, really. Although it was pitched by the pitcher, Buehler, it's not an out until it crosses home plate as a strike, and that ball is then caught, and it has to be caught. If the catcher drops the ball, the runner can run to first base. So the catcher made the final out, and his number points to the Antichrist, his number being 4 times 4, the 44th president. But his name is Will Smith. And that, for those who are watching, is should be an immediate reference to Will Smith, the actor, who is known for what? Slapping Chris Rock in prime time on the stage for everyone in America to see. It was a warning of the asteroid that will slap Earth and destroy America. Boom. Will Smith and his slap connects to the 120th World Series. And that's so very important because, again, of the 120 years before the judgment, destruction, and the flood. And also, this asteroid hit will cause flooding. It'll cause mega tsunamis and also the collapse of Hoover Dam and the eruption of Yellowstone volcano and massive earthquakes. So, and also, I believe, whether it's at this moment on August 23rd, 2025 or later, at some point, the continent is going to be divided with a body of water from the Mississippi Delta to the Great Lakes. It'll be judgment for trying to divide Israel. The Antichrist will be doing that and leading that. He'll be on the Temple Mount, the effort to make Jerusalem an international city, etc., and dividing God's land. The division of North America will be testament in the 1,000 years age of the Messiah and his rule. It'll be testament to the judgment from God on America for everyone, for generations to see. And this will also cause the spilling of the Great Lakes over the Midwest, which is more flood. So, okay, I think I've made the point here. It's amazing that Will Smith connects to Will Smith and then to the slap of the earth. And Will Smith's catch parallels, it lines up with Will Smith's slap. It's the action of the ball coming at top speed into the catcher's glove. All right, it's just like Will Smith's hand at top speed slapping Chris Rock's face. And the ball is symbolic of a rock, just like Smith's hand was like that, symbolism for that. Okay? Furthermore, the ball is caught in a glove, and that's a hand. The glove is, manipulated by the hand. It's Will Smith's hand that caught the ball, which hints at Will Smith's hand slap. It's amazing, okay? But on top of it all, it's the final pitch of the 120th World Series. Which, I just want to drive that home one more time. It's just so amazing because that's the book of Genesis right there and the flood judgment. The ball that Judge, number 99, caught at the 399-foot number when he slammed into the wall, and this number 399 preceded his error in the fifth inning that led to the Dodgers to tie the game at 5-5. The ball that was caught at the 399-foot number on the wall was hit by player number 5. This play that pointed to the number 399 is 5 days before the predicted death of the 39th president on the 309th day of the calendar year. The 39th president will die in the fourth state on the 4 times 4th anniversary of the election of the 44th president. And this ball was caught at the 399th foot number in the 4th inning. The day of Game 1 of the Los Angeles Dodgers World Series, the first father, and on this same day, on the first day of the World Series involving the Los Angeles Dodgers, the first father and son NBA players played on an NBA team game for the Los Angeles Lakers, which hints at fallen angels, lake of fire. It was Bronny James's first ever NBA game. Okay? King James is his nickname. LeBron James' son, Bronny James, is playing with him this year on the same team. This is the first time in NBA history. God uses firsts for signs. Furthermore, LeBron James is an extremely important sign God is using to point to the basketball president, the GOAT Antichrist. LeBron James is thought to be one of the 2 GOATs of basketball, greatest of all time, and in Bible prophecy, there are 2 GOAT Antichrists, and on and on. Okay, so anyway, this first ever game in which a father and son played in was the same day as the first game of the World Series. All right? On the day of the final game of the Los Angeles Dodgers World Series, LeBron James and Bronny James played for Los Angeles, and they played Cleveland. In Cleveland. Bronny scored his first NBA points of his career in this game in Cleveland. Both of them were born in Cleveland. LeBron James broke the Cleveland sports curse when he won an NBA championship with Cleveland in 2016. 2016 hints at 216, which is 6 times 6 times 6. And 216 is equal to Barack in English gematria, and Barack Obama was born on the 216th day of the calendar year. President Cleveland was the only president to serve non-consecutive terms. He skipped the presidency of Benjamin Harrison. President Benjamin Harrison, the 23rd president, was part of the only ever grandfather and grandson presidents. Benjamin Harris's grandfather was the 9th president, William Harrison, who died exactly 1 month after being in office. The 9th and 23rd presidents, the only grandfather, grandson presidents, hint at the only father and son NBA players who happen to wear jerseys number 9 and 23. I'll repeat that. The 9th and 23rd presidents, the only grandfather, grandson presidents, parallel the only father and son players who are wearing jersey number 9 and 23. This is because the basketball president who was inaugurated in 2009 wore number 23 in high school basketball. Like President Cleveland, Obama will serve non-consecutive terms. That's why God is pointing to all of this. Obama will serve non-consecutive terms after he replaces Kamala Harris after her predicted death while she is in office, which is why William Harrison died 1 month after being in office. This hints at the presidency of Benjamin Harrison, the presidency that President Cleveland skipped, and the death of President William Harrison while he was in office. The name Harrison hints at Harris. Now, I'm just going to play a clip just for a few minutes that's extremely interesting. It's amazing that regards this pairing of the numbers 9 and 23. God uses the number 23 to reveal the identity of the Antichrist, the basketball president who wore jersey number 23 when he played basketball in high school. In the Old Testament in the Bible, it is described how 2 goats were used on the Day of Atonement in the ritual on the Temple Mount. In Bible prophecy, there are 2 antichrists, and in Bible prophecy, it is said that the Antichrist will rule the Temple Mount during the end times period. And the Antichrist will be vanquished from the Temple Mount at the return of Lord Jesus Christ on the Day of Atonement in 2024. Goat is Antichrist symbolism. Goat stands for greatest of all time. And this is why the 2 goats of basketball wore jersey number 23, Michael Jordan and LeBron James. The goat of basketball, Michael Jordan, played for Chicago, and the goat Antichrist, the basketball president, is from Chicago. LeBron James is famous for being from Cleveland and having played for Cleveland and having won the NBA Finals championship for Cleveland, breaking the supposed Cleveland sports curse, which is Antichrist King symbolism, which is why LeBron James goes by the nickname King James. And this was used to point to the president Grover Cleveland, who was the only president to serve non-consecutive terms, skipping the 23rd presidency, just like the Antichrist will serve non-consecutive terms, having skipped the 45th presidency. In God's true big picture of end times signs, patterns, and connections, the number 9 is the most important number, as from the Bible it symbolizes God's judgment, and the number 23 is the 9th prime number, and the number 45 is the 9th triangular number, which in a triangle of numbers, the last number in the 9th row is 45. This is why Michael Jordan, in the exact middle of his career, after having won 3 NBA titles and before winning his other 3 NBA titles, retired briefly, and when he returned, wore jersey number 45 for coincidentally 23 games. And it is why Michael Jordan, in his last game as a Chicago Bull, another city God uses to point to the Antichrist, who is also from Chicago, scored 45 points against the team from the 45th state. Like Michael Jordan, LeBron James also played in Cleveland, then famously left Cleveland in much controversy, and then returned again to play a second time in Cleveland in order to win the championship for Cleveland and break the Cleveland sports curse, which symbolizes the Antichrist curse of Barack Obama when he will return to the White House for his second presidency. In other words, the hiatus in the middle of Michael Jordan's career in Chicago and the hiatus in the middle of LeBron James's career in Cleveland hint at the hiatus of Barack Obama skipping the 45th presidency and returning to the White House for a second presidency. It will be his third term, which is why Michael Jordan won 3 championships and then briefly retired before returning a second time to win 3 more championships. God pairs the numbers 9 and 23 together in order to confirm the signs and connections and to reveal the identity of the Antichrist, the basketball president that wore jersey number 23 when he played basketball in high school and became president in 2009, and will become the president again in 2023. From the Bible, the numbers 9 and 23 both symbolize judgment, and the number 23 is the 9th prime number. The only grandfather-grandson presidents were the 9th and 23rd presidents, William and Benjamin Harrison. The 9th president, William Harrison, died on the calendar date April 4th, 44, which hints at the 44th president. Harrison died exactly 1 month after his inauguration. The name Harrison hints at Kamala Harris. Kamala Harris will die in a plane crash due to a bird strike and lightning and turbulence in St. Louis. And the Antichrist Barack Obama will rise to power and become president again through her replacement, which is what is hinted at with the only president to serve non-consecutive terms, President Grover Cleveland, who skipped the presidency of Benjamin Harrison. The 23rd president, which is why LeBron James, who played for Cleveland, wore jersey number 23. Michelle Obama will first replace Kamala Harris, and then Barack will replace Michelle. Michelle is the feminine version of Michael, which is the reason for the name Michael in the name Michael Jordan. In the Bible, the Hebrews crossed the Jordan River into the Promised Land. Barack Obama's famous autobiography is named A Promised Land. Obama the Antichrist will promise the world a new world order utopia. A goat is Antichrist symbolism. The greatest of all time, the GOAT of basketball, Michael Jordan, wore jersey number 23 and jersey number 9 when he played for the U.S. Olympic Dream Team, a team that beat their opponents by an average of 44 points per game, which hints at the 44th president, GOAT Antichrist, that wore jersey number 23 and became president in 2009. If you have not already watched the Michael Jordan prophecy video on this channel, the Michael Jordan prophecy video is an essential video for foundational understanding of how God's true big picture of signs, patterns, and connections works. Besides revealing the identity of the Antichrist, God pairs the numbers 9 and 23 to reveal what the mark of the Antichrist is. Bible prophecy describes a mark of the Antichrist, which if one takes, they will go to hell, and if one doesn't take it, they won't be able to buy or sell, which means they won't be allowed to buy the rationed food that will be rationed due to the coming food shortages. Ezekiel chapter 9 is the chapter that describes the inverse of the mark of the Antichrist. In other words, the 9th chapter of the book of Ezekiel in the Bible is about the mark of the Antichrist, and the mark of the Antichrist involves changing one's chromosomes. And we have 23 pairs of chromosomes. God pairs 9 and 23 to identify what the mark of the Antichrist is. And speaking of the GOAT of basketball, LeBron James, who wears jersey number 23, he gave his name, LeBron James, to a Nike shoe that is named 23 chromosomes. The pattern on the shoe is unmistakably a pattern that resembles snakeskin, and that is because the mark of the Antichrist is a snake bite. The mark of the Antichrist changes chromosomes through inserting a protruding-shaped amino acid chain, and this protruding-shaped amino acid chain is synthesized snake poison. In the Bible, the biggest symbol of evil, of Satan, is the serpent. The reason why the shoe is made by Nike and why Michael Jordan is known for his Air Jordan shoe made by Nike is that Nike hints at the Nicolaitan doctrine that the vast majority of Christians have, especially evangelical Christians. This Nicolaitan doctrine of our day that Jesus said he hates in Revelation chapter 2, and that he is coming to make war with the sword of his mouth on those that teach and have the works that are a product of this doctrine. This explains why many quote-unquote Christians have already taken the mark of the Antichrist. It is judgment for their doctrine. That said, nowhere in the Bible does it say that one cannot repent after taking the mark of the Antichrist. To learn more about what the Nicolaitan doctrine of our day is, watch the most important video titled 23 Church Signs video. The Los Angeles Dodgers won their 4+4th championship in Game 5. This was 4+4 days after the death of Los Angeles Dodger Fernando Valenzuela, as in Fernando Mania equals Obama Mania, and 5 days before the 4x4th anniversary of the election of the 44th president. Valenzuela was number 34. The Dodgers' 8th win was 34 days after the 8th named storm of the season hit the U.S. The 8th named storm of the season was 80 days after the 8th ever storm named Beryl hit the U.S. on the 8th of July. The 8th stone in the book of Revelation is Beryl, 8 out of 12 stones. This word, Beryl, is G969 in Strong's Concordance. In the Bible, Methuselah died at the age of 969. In God's signs, Jimmy Carter is symbolism for Methuselah. And Carter is predicted to die 5 days after Game 5 and the Dodgers' 8th win. Okay, as I wrote earlier, June 9th, 2025 will also be Aliens Day. When Judge finally hit a home run in the World Series after not batting well in the prior games, the announcer said that the sleeping giant had awoken. Giant is symbolism for fallen angels and demons pretending to be aliens. This game is 222 days before Aliens Day. By the way, another thing to add to that is the giants are mentioned in the book of Revelation in the flood account after 120 years, which is the reason for the flood. And this was the 120th World Series. And we had this sign involving the giant, Aaron Judge, in this 120th World Series. 5 days before the death of Carter and Carter's Methuselah, who is part of the account of the flood, who died at the time of the flood judgment, and whose name Methuselah means when he dies, destruction. Okay, so the day before October 30th, actress Terry Garr died. By the way, Garr hints at garbage. And that was the day that Biden made his garbage comments. That's why Terry Garr died, on that day that Biden talked about Republicans being garbage. The actress, starred in Close Encounters of the Third Kind and Young Frankenstein. Garr died on the day of Biden's garbage comment about Trump supporters being garbage. This is 223 days before Aliens Day and Demonic Possession Day. And the 48th president is predicted to be the Antichrist. But Aliens Day and Demonic Possession Day are perfectly symbolized with the movies Close Encounters of the Third Kind and Young Frankenstein. Right? And that's why Terry Garr died and connected with all of this. To facilitate this connection between these movies and the coming day that is Aliens Day and Demonic Possession Day. It's amazing beyond words. In advance of Game 5, we expected a sign that would involve, in advance of Game 5, we expected a sign, or signs plural, that would point to the MVP number 44 of the 77 World Series, who hit a record 5 home runs in the series. After the Dodgers overcame a 5-run deficit to win Game 5, and that was in the 5th inning, Dodgers player number 5 was awarded the MVP for hitting 4 home runs in 4 games in a row, which hints at number 44, Reggie Jackson and his 5 home runs. That's why it was Dodgers number 5 who hit the 4 home runs in 4 games, because it hints at the 5 home runs of player number 44. It's amazing. And that was expected in advance. We expected a sign to point back to number 44's 5 home runs in 1977 between the two teams between the Yankees and Dodgers, the same 2 teams that played each other this year. Prior to October 30th, 2024, it was expected there would be a sign involving the number 9 and number 5 somehow. The 5th run for the Yankees, it was 5-5 after 5 innings, was scored with a solo shot in the 3rd by Yankee number 27. So the reason why I put that there is just, okay, so I said this earlier. At the beginning of the 5th inning, it was 0-5. The Yankees had already scored their 5 runs before the 5th inning. Okay. Now the 5th run of those 5 runs that was scored before the 5th inning was a solo shot, a solo home run in the 3rd inning by Yankee number 27. Okay, so God repeats a number 3 times for emphasis of its symbolic meaning, but this was also the 3rd home run of the game. Okay, so this 3rd home run of the game was hit by number 27 in the 3rd inning. Number 27 in the 3rd inning hints at 9 plus 9 plus 9 plus 9. Right? 27 is 9 plus 9 plus 9. In other words, 27 divided by 3 is 3 9s. Number 9 plus 9 plus 9 scored the 5th Yankees run. And again, before this game, we expected the sign involving a number 9 and a number 5. This is another way, because we already explained one of them, player number 99's contribution in this game. But also, the 3rd home run of number 9 plus 9 plus 9, which was the 5th Yankees run. This prophetic fifth Yankees run was scored in Game 5. Okay, so this run stands out because of what I've just explained, but it was also Game 5, let's not forget. The final score of the game to win the series for the Los Angeles Dodgers was 7-6, and this hinted at 7 times 6 equals 42, the number that the Los Angeles Dodgers' Jackie Robinson wore. After Kamala Harris's predicted death in a plane crash into a baseball stadium, she will be replaced by Mrs. Michelle Robinson. Mrs. Michelle Robinson, which is why the song by Paul Simon, Mrs. Robinson, which he sang in center field of Yankee Stadium after Joe DiMaggio died. And Joe DiMaggio played against Jackie Robinson, number 42, in the 1947 World Series, the first World Series that was racially integrated. And so that's also how Paul Simon ties to the name Robinson through Joe DiMaggio, because Paul Simon sang about Joe DiMaggio in his song Mrs. Robinson, and Joe DiMaggio connects to Jackie Robinson, who wore jersey number 42 for the Los Angeles Dodgers. And this game was won with a score that hinted at the number 42, because God is pointing to first of all, the Antichrist, because the number 42 in Bible prophecy symbolizes the Antichrist, but also Jackie Robinson, because God is using that to hint at Mrs. Michelle Robinson, who will bring about the rise of the Antichrist, because after she is replaced Kamala Harris, she will be made president-elect by the Democrat electors after they shoplift the referendum. And then Joe Biden will step down and she will become the 47th president, and she will appoint Barack Obama as her vice president. And then she will step down on January 12th. And then Barack Obama will be inaugurated ceremonially on January 20th. The 3 home runs for the Yankees against the Los Angeles Dodgers by number 99, number 13, and number 27 sum to 139, the 34th prime number. This was 4 plus 4 days after the death of legendary Los Angeles Dodgers Fernando Valenzuela, number 34. Valenzuela, a left-handed pitcher on the pitching mound, was known for Fernando mania, and points to the left-handed 44th president known for Obama mania. A large reason for Fernando mania was his Mexican ethnicity. Okay, so if you don't know this pitcher from the early 1980s, he was the big phenomenon. Wherever he would play, would attract huge crowds. He was on fire, first of all. He was like the star pitcher he won the Rookie of the Year and the Cy Young. And I think that's the only time that's ever happened. And by the way, he won that, his fantastic year. He had 13 wins. And it was only 13 because it was a shortened year. But it was a shortened year because it was designed by God so that this amazing player could have the number 13 in that year. And they went on to win the World Series that year against the New York Yankees, the Los Angeles Dodgers, which Fernando Valenzuela played for. In other words, I need to make an entire video about Fernando Valenzuela, because it also hints at Venezuela, and God is using Venezuela and the shoplifted referendum there to hint at what's going on here. The Marxist revolution that has happened in Venezuela is happening here, and like Venezuela, there will never ever be another Republican president. Just like Venezuela, how there will never ever be another non-communist socialist president, right? It's a socialist coup that's underway in America. And so that's another reason for Fernando Valenzuela. Okay, but anyway, so there was Fernando mania. He would attract huge crowds. What else? I think that the television numbers were extraordinarily high and all this. And so that, and a large part of that is because he was attracting Latinos and interesting them in baseball and everything. And that's because he's from Mexico, okay? Now, the parallel with Obama mania is that was a large part of his Obama mania, the color of his skin. Right? And also, by the way, him presenting himself as being from Kenya, which was a lie, but anyway, that's another story I explained in other videos, was necessary too. Because Obama and Bill Ayers knew that he wouldn't rise as far as he had he presented himself as just another African American. He needed to have a multicultural African American story, but it's all a lie. Well, anyway, he was born in Kenya, but he's certainly not Kenyan, and that was all played upon so that he could become president. And his father isn't Kenyan. That's a lie too. Anyway, I don't want to get into it. I've explained it before. Okay, so anyway, number 34, Fernando Valenzuela, grew up in Mexico. And the 44th president grew up for 4 years in the nation that was made up of 34 provinces, Indonesia, where his mother and stepfather were involved in an Islamic cult. And that's a fact. That's not conspiracy theory. All right. And also, what's also not conspiracy theory is that while he was there, Obama had a transgender caretaker. So Obama was being raised by a transgender, a man pretending to be a woman. Okay. Okay. So Obama is associated with Indonesia, which is symbolized by the number 34. Okay, just like America is symbolized by 50 because it's 50 states. And Fernando Valenzuela was number 34. All right, let's move on. The home run by number 99 off of pitcher number 0 hinted at 990. What I want to just talk about one more time here is the reason for all of this is that this Los Angeles Dodgers win in this prophetic game was 4 plus 4 days after Fernando Valenzuela died, but also the 3 prophetic home runs hint at the number 34 as well, because again, they add up to the 34th prime number. Okay? Now, the home run by number 99 off of pitcher number 0 hinted at 990, the 44th triangular number. The signs in the game in New York City pointed to 9/11 in New York City. 99 is 9 times 11. 990 is 9 times 110. The Twin Towers were 110 stories. The poor defense in the 5th inning of Game 5 was initiated by the error in center field by number 99. This hinted at God's defenses of America being temporarily removed on 9/11. What I am saying is that not only is number 99 a hint at 9/11, but his home run was off of pitcher number 0, and that's giving us a 9 times 110, which is big time numbers that God pairs together to point to 9/11. And I'm just going to play a short clip explaining that, and then I'll be right back. Believe me, I know far better than you how the prediction made in this video was derived. And more importantly, I know far better than you why the righteous Christian God of the Bible has given me a voice through this prediction. If you are a quote-unquote Christian or Muslim, this prediction was not learned through a demon. Be warned that blaspheming the Holy Spirit is the unforgivable sin. If you are a New Ager or New Spirituality person, this prediction was not learned through somehow tapping into the supposed universal collective consciousness. If you are a conspiracy theorist, this prediction was not learned through figuring out a supposed code that the Illuminati and Satanists are using. This prediction was learned through the Bible and through watching carefully the Lord's prophetic signs, which Jesus commanded all Christians to do. Besides proving that Jesus Christ is the Lord, the reason why God has given me a voice through this prediction is to prove that the controversial things that I am saying in the videos on this channel are the truth. Therefore, a wise person will want to watch all of the videos on this channel. What I will also do is create a video or two that summarizes some of the controversial things that the Lord will prove to be true when the prediction being made in this video comes to pass. I will leave links to these must-watch videos in the description box below this video. Again, the purpose of this prediction, that is from God, is to prove these things that I will talk about. And therefore, it would be foolish to not watch the videos that I will leave links for in the description box below this video. Aliens and UFOs are demons masquerading as aliens and UFOs. Most people's spiritual experiences are demonic deception, especially if they are not a true follower of Christ. In the last days, many people who claim to be a follower of Christ will have spiritual experiences that are in reality demonic. God became a man and died a horrible death at the hand of the ruler of this world, Satan, and then defeated death for you, so that you too can overcome death, which is the price that must be paid for sin. It is time to repent, which means to change one's ways and turn to God and become a disciple of Jesus. Please leave a like and upvote the video, and once this prediction has come to pass, share this video with everyone you know, and more, don't stop sharing it everywhere in social media. It is essential that everyone immediately read the homepage of my website, TrumpPrediction.com. If you are watching this on the YouTube platform, please note that not all of the videos are on YouTube. You need to switch to the BitChute.com or the Odyssey.com channel. And do it now in case you aren't able to later.